Hooray. All right. Well, welcome everyone. Sunny June. Nope. May. It's still May. I'm thinking way too far in advance. Yeah. So we'll start with attendance, and then get into our agenda. So I will start, and then we'll just go clockwise. I don't think we have any folks online at the moment. So Amanda Polly,
Rose Bricker, Alba Cederling,
Jane Sherwood, Diane Crocker,
Jessica Andrade.
Workman.
awesome, easy peasy. First item of business is approval for the minutes of last month. Is there anything that folks want to point out, or are we good? Beautiful. Love that. Okay. I have a, it's not urgent, but it's not on the agenda. Just a reminder that the email that Crystal sent out to sign up on the Philomath website for to get a login so that you get notifications about this meeting, because that's how in the future they'll be communicating how when the meeting is and letting folks know that there's an agenda and all of that good stuff. So if you don't know what I'm talking about, review Crystal Weber's email, and if you need help or need me to forward that to you, I am happy to do so.
Yeah, I didn't get that email.
Okay. I have your email address, so I will.
I did it on my phone and my phone works great, but I've got a new laptop because my computer died and the laptop. But I don't know how to do this. Oh, well, I'll just put it on, but I will have to work on that.
Figure it out. Does anyone else have any urgent business not on the agenda that they would like to briefly address before we get into it?
That's not so far. I have to leave early today, so it won't be because I'm offended or offended anybody. I just have to leave early to get to my daughter's. My daughter's.
I was like, that's not what you told me.
My daughter's band and college this tonight, so I'll excuse myself here in about 10 minutes. So
It's very exciting.
sorry to bail on you, but we'll get it going. And just logistically, when I leave, if somebody just wants to hit the end button when you're done, and then just walk out, I'll lock everything up before I go.
Perfect. We
Thanks.
can do that.
You want me to set the other?
No, I'll come back afterwards and set you up.
Oh, since you're leaving early, because you mentioned that your wife is a Spanish teacher, and I don't know if you talked to her about the
Yeah, I was gonna
event.
ask if you wanted to touch on that real quick, like jump ahead.
I talked to her, she has interest in helping, she just wasn't sure what exactly we'd be looking for, and just coordinating with different people and folks that might be interested, so, yeah, she's interested in helping where she can.
Cool. All right. So we can start with a few updates and announcements. First, we have the Age-Friendly Communities event that has been wonderfully organized by Jane and Diane. There's a info flyer in the packet so that everyone can see it. I will say that in the notes last month it said I volunteered to do the flyer, but Diane did it and it is beautiful. So I don't want the minutes to think that I did that. I'm not taking credit. Diane did a
But you
wonderful
were great
job.
to add it in, so thank
Yes.
you for that.
Yes. So folks can share that with anyone that they think might want to
And I
head to the
think I'll
event.
put one in the announcement right
Yeah.
outside the door, so I'll put that.
Yeah.
And they're at the library, so the librarian was very helpful and supportive and said, oh, yes, we do this. And so he's gonna hand them out if there's some old people that go.
Is there anything that we can do as a committee? I know we asked last month, but if anything's come up, anything that we can do to support the event, at least from afar, since a lot of us will be working during the day, but if there's anything we can do ahead
I
of.
work during the day.
What was that?
I don't work during the
Well,
day. And I
yeah,
already
yes,
talked to
we-
Kay
nice.
about it.
Beautiful.
Yes, any of you could come if you have the availability, and we don't expect you to though. And, but if you have seniors in your life, neighbors or parents or whatever, and you want to share your flyer with them, that'd be great.
Do we have this in a shareable format for like the social media or for any of us to share?
I have the document that Diane sent, just the, I can't remember if it's a PDF or a Word document, but I can circulate that out.
That'd be great, thank you.
To you to send out. So that folks have that.
Awesome. This looks great, by the way. Great job.
What was it?
Oh, 55 plus.
Well, if somebody's 53, they can come too. It's just, you know, a general age.
I mean, it sounds a little young to be a senior, but I don't know, maybe.
If you look at the flyer and feel moved to attend, then
The older I get, the younger that sounds.
yes. Yep.
We will need those big
I asked,
ticket, oh, you got some.
I have
You
a
have a-
tablet,
a big
I
one.
have a big one.
Good.
And we have markers, and we have notepads, and we have stickers. The only thing I don't have is an abundance of pencils or something, pens or something like that.
I have some abundance in the house, I think, so. But,
Let me know if you need something.
Yeah. Awesome.
Oh, maybe we could have the inclusivity committee flyers that we've passed out in the past that you could like hand to anyone who comes to, who's looking for connection, like, oh, but yeah, by the way, here you go. Oh, and maybe music in the park since you have that, or I don't know. I know it's not like a, here's information. It's like, give us information and ideas, but potentially something to think about. I would think at least the inclusivity committee one, since this is like from us, you know.
did we get that?
I can print some off and have them at the counter. And just want to pick them up whenever I get it tomorrow.
I will pick them
Sure.
up in the next week. Okay.
I'll just put information or inclusivity committee on them, so whoever can.
Any other questions about that? Do you have any other information to share about it?
We have no idea how many people will show up. It might be 2, it might be
Very
30.
excited to hear how it goes. Okay. Next, we have our Philomath Pride planning meeting announcement. We scheduled our next planning meeting for June 5th at 6:30.
6:30 to 7:30 on Zoom.
Yep.
People can email us at philomathpride@gmail.com if they'd like a Zoom link.
And then we've posted about it on social media, on both Facebook and Instagram, so folks can comment there as well if they want the information. But we're getting into the thick of it. It's about to start.
It's getting real.
Yeah.
People keep asking me to do things in the middle of June, and I'm like, don't talk to me until July.
Nothing.
Not.
I heard you talk about trying to get a basket together. You were talking to Sharon
Yeah.
Thornberry.
Oh, yes.
I talked to David about this the other night too at the
Yeah.
budget committee.
And I've been trained how to do those
Oh.
anyway, so I would be willing to put
put together a basket for?
Yes, I don't know if you have things you want put in it, or you would like me to figure it out, or.
We don't have things.
We were talking,
We're talking about the raffle, right?
oh,
You give away
I'm
food and
thinking
then you get a
about,
raffle ticket.
I
Is that what we're
see.
talking about? The winning basket.
I remember,
Or you can have
okay,
food, get a raffle ticket.
I see.
Yes.
Yes.
No, we don't have things.
Okay.
If you would magically make that happen, amazing. If you want support on that, absolutely.
Yeah.
But that would be great
Yeah,
if you could take that on. Yeah. Thank you.
I was thinking, because we talked about doing collection, I
Yes.
forgot that it was attached to.
Yep. So they'll have the food
raffle.
bin, and then they'll have a donation can.
Gotcha.
So, sorry, to clarify the idea, because I don't remember.
Philomath Community Services is going to table at the event, and they're going to bring a big bin for people to donate food. We're going to promote it on social media. You bring a canned food, you get a raffle ticket, and then we're going to raffle off a basket of items. Working on getting stuff donated.
So if you end up with some things that you would like to go in basket, just let me know.
Okay.
But otherwise, I'll figure something out. You never know what I do.
Also with Philomath Pride, Amanda and I are going to be speaking at Benton County offices. I don't really know what the headquarters of Benton County.
The commissioners.
Yeah, they're going to be doing a flag raising, pride flag raising, and then reading of a pride proclamation. I think either myself or Amanda are going to do the reading of that, and that's on June 10th. That is going to be, I think it starts at 8.
I think,
Hold on.
I think it's 9.
Is it 9? It's
'Cause
morning.
I think the flag raising is at 9 and then or maybe the flag raising is at 8 and the commissioners meeting starts at 9.
Why?
Why speculate? When we could-
It's flag raising ceremony and refreshments, 9 a.m. reading of the Pride Proclamation at the Board of Commissioners meeting.
But the
Benton
Howard
County Board of Commissioners, Pelapoo Building off of Research Way.
That's the same day as our senior thing.
It has, but it's
Will
before.
not be a problem.
Yeah, so it's gonna be exciting.
I'm terrible about coming to meetings or emailing. I had volunteered to work that day. I don't know if you can just plug me in and tell me what to do.
That's what we're.
That's
Yeah.
Uh,
I guess we can. Our volunteer coordinator will reach out to you.
I have a list of folks, and you're on
the
it.
list.
Yeah. Any other questions about pride planning, pride in general?
You guys have maybe been used to in years past of us putting out an Amazon wish list. It's looking like we are going to tap into that and do that again this year. Not saying that you have to buy from Amazon, but it gives you an idea of what we're looking for.
Yes.
So that'll be on social media as well. In the past, we've cleared out our list almost every year. I think people buy everything on it. So it's been amazing to see the community support.
Yeah.
That's it.
Okay. Good talk. All right. Diane, you want to give us a recap of
Yes,
Stamp Out Hunger? Yeah.
Thank you for volunteering. That was so heartwarming to see you. It's been done for 32 years, not in Philomath. And we did not receive the postcards. Everybody's upset about not receiving the postcards. The post office put in to get them. They were supposed to go out a week before they got there. They didn't show. So it was a much smaller food drive than we were hoping for. To put in perspective, our March Out Hunger was 6,000 pounds, and this one was 900 pounds. Still, having a good attitude, 900 pounds more food than we had before we even tried. So, and some people, it was delightful. And some people are in the room, but some people called up their friends and went and got food from them. One of the people went to their mom's house and got food. There was a car that went to Dollar Tree or something and got cans of ravioli or something like that. It just, people were very resourceful because it was such a low turnout. And we did what we could through social media and the newsletter and just trying to get the word out, but it just didn't. And we are not sure if it's going to happen next year, I mean nationally, because there's been cuts and different things. There's, you know how the climate is now. And so we may just do that March one and make that as big as we can. But we'll still continue to work for the cause, yeah.
Appreciate y'all organizing and communicating as best you could without those postcards. It was nice to see all the people in the room show up and
A lot of
volunteer.
volunteers.
We ended up with 46 volunteers, I believe, that gave 82 hours of volunteer time, which is wonderful. I mean, that's a win right there, just getting the community involved and being aware of the need and being aware of where it's at, and that they can maybe get involved other ways there too. But yeah.
Cool. Yeah. Big thank you to you and Teresa for spearheading that and getting us all organized. Yeah, we could talk about maybe ways to have the committee get involved in March. Get it on our calendar and think about it ahead of time.
Yes, well, the next, if this is not finalized by a long shot, but we had the idea, somebody gave us the idea, one of the volunteers, to do a tackle on hunger and at the home football game, to have a barrel out and collect food and just try to encourage people to bring food. And the idea was to try to get the student council to do that and or the honor society, because they need to do community service, which I am all for that. But if they need help or maybe help just transporting, then I might come to you guys and just say, we might need some food, yeah. But we'll see. Christopher is the liaison to the school district, so he's supposed to talk to them about that.
Well, we can make a note to follow up on that in a bit. End of midsummer, maybe.
Well, it's a great idea because people are already coming and they're, I mean, 1,000 people probably come. And if half of them brought a donation, that'd be great. And we can also take monetary donations at that point too. I don't know if the student council wants to do that or not, but.
And is your focus mostly just for food, or are you looking for like hygiene supplies and that kind of?
Always hygiene supplies,
thing.
food, spices is a big thing because they get a lot of tuna and no mayonnaise, so they always want condiments and spices, but that's kind of makes their life better, but it's not as necessary as just the food. I think I told you that, you know, some of the people I talked to, I said, what is it that you need the most? They said, rice and pasta. And so they were not asking for the moon, they were wanting some food to eat. And they can purchase more food with $1 than we can, because the Lynn Benton food share, if they've got money of food, they haven't had any excess to share with gleaners, for example, but the food bank gets less. And so that's always a possibility too.
Awesome. Well, I made a note to touch back on this in midsummer before football season starts and see where we're at and if there's anything we can do. So, awesome. Well, thank you again so much for that and for getting us involved, and bringing that to us. We appreciate that. The next item on our list is the Philomath Fellowship. Do you want to do a little?
Yeah, so the next one is going to be on June 17th. That is a Tuesday, switching it up from our usual Thursday night because that Thursday is going to be Juneteenth. There are many things happening. We don't want to compete. 6 to 8 at the museum. Participation has been pretty steady and consistent. It's been nice that the consistent folks are showing up, and we're also getting some new people that come in. So I think word's getting out and feels really good.
Yeah.
Still looking for someone to share at June's meeting.
I put in the Philomath News did a nice write-up about the fellowship and the goal and sort of what it's about. So that was nice to see. So if folks want to check that out, you can just search Fellowship with a PH on the Philomath News website. Brad did a great job.
To our community.
No. You're just moving right along. Okay, so well, it is old business because we talked about it last month. In the packet is a draft for a social media post for Pride. If folks want to give that a look.
Is that in our packet?
It should be.
Page 31.
Yeah,
No, page
31,
7.
number 7.
it's a little packet.
It's a 31 from something else.
I was looking at this earlier. This last paragraph feels
It looks like this, Diane.
wonky a little. I'm wondering if we could move Philomath Pride, comma, a local pride group in town organizes, or maybe even just Philomath Pride organizes an annual Pride Festival.
Oh, you have it there.
That I love it.
Philomath Pride organized an annual Pride Festival.
Yes. Maybe Philomath Pride has been organizing an annual Pride Festival since 2021. Show that longevity.
Mhm.
I also really like that logo. Looks better in color.
Okay, so Philomath Pride has been organizing an annual Pride Festival since 2021 and participates in events across the Willamette Valley.
Sounds good to me.
And should it be Philomath City Park? I always go back and forth because we open it up to like anybody and people from Benton County, and not everybody knows when you say city park. Some people think Corvallis City Park.
True.
They put us together.
Pretty much everyone has
Philomath
a
City Park.
Yeah.
Cool. Can do.
I love it.
This is great.
I love that, highlighting local.
Awesome. Okay, I will make those edits. And
Thank you.
you're very welcome. That was easy. Alrighty.
We don't need Chris. We got
I feel like you could have stayed. We were almost done. Let's see. Right. Why are you so slow today? Technical issues with my.
event.
Yes. Well, while this loads, the next item on the agenda is for to discuss the potential event in September. And there are some questions. Oh, thank you.
This doesn't live again later.
I appreciate it. So there were some questions in the summary that I wanted to put out to the committee. About whether or not anyone has reached out to folks about whether this is a good idea or not, or how we could move forward after our conversation at the last meeting, and that if we actually want to take this on, sort of some questions. So did anyone reach out? I know the two of you weren't here at the last meeting. I know
No, I was here.
were you?
Well, I asked around to some members of the community what this would look like.
Mhm.
They would make them want to participate.
Mhm.
And the feedback I got was that it should be an event fun with music and food, and not just a conference, for instance.
Right.
You know, something that would more like a party.
Celebration.
So, and then I was remembering I went to an event in Corvallis for Day of the Dead, and they had some stands of food there. I do have to contact information of a couple of them because I like the food.
Mhm.
So I was thinking, because I was not sure about where this would take place, but then I saw that if we talk about the rodeo grounds.
Yeah, so in our last meeting, and I checked in with Chris this morning and I didn't get an email back. And then, so I don't know if he's actually had a chance to reach out to the Frolic folks. But I think that his suggestion was that we do it at the Frolic grounds and have live music on the stage, and then have like food vendors, as you mentioned, selling food, and that we potentially have organizations also tabling, sort of like they do at the cook-off where they have like the public safety display outside, which I thought sounded like a pretty decent idea, but I don't know what he heard back, if anything. Diane?
I thought, I hate that this has to be a consideration, but I thought we were concerned about safety from ICE, bringing a bunch of people together, and that this might not be the year to do it. I don't know.
Well,
It just seems.
Yeah, I
scary.
didn't think I didn't talk to some people, you know, with that are immigrants or or even residents here that moved. I talked to people that have been in the community for a while, and so the feeling I got was that it was a good idea. Try to just promote some neighbor recognition, I guess, the interaction. And because I had that concern also, but then I was thinking that it's not exclusively for people with Hispanic roots. It's actually to talk about what does that mean for everyone that intermingles with people that have Hispanic roots. So I don't know.
It feels to me that it would be great to have Hispanic speakers and musicians and whatnot, and then I worry, I don't want to go around asking anybody about their citizenship status or anything like that. And I don't know if it's a big deal, but if we advertise it, it might catch somebody bad as and they might want to come, and it scares me a little bit.
Yeah, I guess we could ask around a little bit more, but it is May. It is the end of May.
However, I think we tried to get there was this Hispanic dance troupe that actually danced in the Frolic Parade, I think, and we tried to get them in a month's notice, and they said, no, our calendar's booked up almost a year in advance. So some of those, it would be good to decide and then reach out to try to get some quality groups to come.
Yeah. I think I remember the conversation last month was very sort of cautious, but there was this sort of feeling of not to use a double negative, not doing something because we're afraid of retaliation. And there are probably ways that we could involve like public safety folks potentially, like even just on like local or something. I'm not sure how that would look, but I think, yeah.
I think when we were doing Pride planning, we have similar concerns about safety or people showing up that will bring a negative presence. But I think there is that element of legality of ICE coming or someone else coming. When I've talked with my cube is across from the person who does like the Latino Hispanic employee resource group. And so they talk about planning a lot. And when they're talking with me about when they're doing their plannings, there is caution, but also how you were saying that to kind of show up in the face of adversity and not hide. And the folks that may have citizenship concerns and concerns about ICE most likely won't come. But I think there's a whole big population of folks that would want to see this in Philomath.
I agree with everything. I don't feel like I can make that decision for them because that would scare me. I mean, the garbage that you see on TV is horrifying.
So I guess, yeah, I appreciate all of this conversation and I guess it sounds like it would be good to get some more feelers out about like, well, if we were to have an event, like what kinds of safety measures can we provide? What kind of and like specifically asking Hispanic and Latinx people in our community and the organizations that support. As for whether or not we'll have time and energy and such to do it this year, I have no idea. Speaking personally, like there's a lot of things up in the air for me, and so I can't commit to definitely being able to help plan the big parts of it at this point in time. Once that stuff gets figured out, then maybe. But as of right now, I can't commit to big planning parts. But I am obviously willing to help, like, you know, being directed and such. So the way I see it is like the question is, do we agree that like, yes, we should put some more feelers out and, well, I guess questions. And then the other one would be like, do we think we have the capacity to actually have an event this year? And if so, like kind of identify those people sooner than later. That's at least what it sounds like to me.
Yeah, I mean, I guess the whether or not the event is safe and accessible question is sort of not relevant if we don't know if we can, or, yeah, and
Or potentially for next year.
yeah, I
Because
think
like this presidency is.
true. I mean, I do think, like, I would hate, like, I know I have a tendency to have really big ideas, and then when I can't execute those, I don't do anything. So I would, like, even if we didn't do like massive thing, like, I still think there's something that we could do, even if it's not just a like a huge festival at the rodeo
Vendor
grounds,
entertainment.
or some sort of like, yeah. So if there's something that we can do in lieu of like our usual social media post and or proclamation and or,
Like even just a baby step, like maybe we can find a Hispanic band to come and play before the city council meeting where the proclamation will be read, and have like a street type party, but not, I mean, it'd be a short-lived, a
Yeah.
small step. And I don't think that would be as scary to attend.
Yeah.
I'm saying, like, I know I'm trying to be empathetic and understand, I can't imagine, but I don't know if anybody's afraid to attend or not. I do understand the stand up in your face, but the reality is that gets people deported to weird places. So that's not something I am willing to put somebody at risk for.
I like that idea a lot, and I think it's good to think about what, well, empathically. Sorry, I'm really snotty.
That's all right.
But I was thinking also, and I think it's important, is how um, mm, how people that are native to Philomath or to the U.S. Think about the Hispanic or Latino population during immigration. So I think that well, I was thinking what I could do, and I think I could talk about what Hispanic means, and Latino means, just those names, because I personally do not identify with any of them, and I think that it's good to just talk about them, and I don't know if I'm the right person to do this, but I do know some people in the area that could also do that. And because I keep thinking that somebody said like what conference would be boring, but I think it's also necessary for people that how do they perceive the other. It's not just for us, for me to celebrate something during this month because I'm here, and for me it's important how I'm perceived. And I think that when you move, people are trying to figure out who this person is, and so I think that just bringing that awareness to those categories and why are they used, I think that is something that I could do, or bring somebody to talk about it.
Like maybe a panel discussion, like event at, similar to like having educational speakers.
Yeah.
But, yeah, that sounds great, at least from my perspective. And like, and I understand safety concerns if we were to, I mean, I don't know if the idea would be to have both or a single event, but I understand not wanting to create a space where people might be in danger. And also, I think as long as we are, you know, proactive in having those conversations of how to make it as safe as possible and recognize that, you know, every day we make risk assessments, every single person, and just trusting that whomever, oh, good eye, like whomever is, sorry, I got distracted. Just the idea that. You guys here for inclusivity committee? Oh.
My guess is no, but
Just trusting that people will decide to, they feel safe or are willing to take that risk and, or stay home if they'd rather not. Just something important to remember, I think. But yeah.
again, I'm just, again, brainstorming. I was at the farmer's market. What would happen if we invited the band to come play at the farmer's market, which is a place that people of all walks of life come and shop at, and I think it would be a good atmosphere, and say this is our celebration of Hispanic month, and then before our September city council meeting, like we did, we had a speaker come in right before one of the yeah, and we could have 2 or 3 people maybe here to explain, maybe just working as a, like an educational resource to teach us, you know, what Hispanic means and what, you know. And if we did that before the city council meeting and encourage our city councilors to be there and do it right in here, that might be a, again, a baby step before we try to do something bigger. I'm all for something bigger when it's safer. I just.
And more time.
I don't know, and Diane and Jessica, you might know what the sort of protocol is for, like, if we wanted to do a sort of combo of like music and food and like a panel discussion and pair that with a proclamation reading. Is it possible to do a proclamation reading outside of, as like a special, like, council event?
Mhm.
Like, just as, because that might be something where we just host it here and sort of do the same thing we did with the Indigenous peoples, but just have it be, you know, a 2-hour thing at City Hall with, yeah,
Or even a half-hour thing.
yeah.
I mean, I think if we start small and I like the farmer's market idea because it's gonna, there'll be all kinds of people there, and so it won't be.
I just want, like, I really like the idea of the farmer's market, like, but I also want it to be very intentional. Like, I want it to be like, we are choosing to do this separate of another event because we want people to come here for this specifically, as opposed to just having some folks, which I think both are great.
The farmer's market also isn't the city's, so we would have to ask.
Yes, and I
Yeah.
could call and ask her if she's even open for that. And I'm assuming she would be, but
I don't know how far in advance they schedule those.
But this is, if we were to just call and ask,
Oh, for sure.
now in May or early June, and then have the answer for our next meeting, but, and then the food, would we ask vendors to, sell food, I'm assuming, not just give people food?
I mean, it would depend. When we talked about doing the big frolic thing, when we were like thinking about a much bigger community thing, I think it was vendors that would sell. I think if we were doing something similar to what we've done at the museum, I say smaller, I just mean like
Focused.
room, the venue is much smaller than like the frolic. Then maybe then we could talk about some sort of like providing food. I don't know if that would be.
I just don't want the vendors to have to donate food.
Right, no. I would not want them to like lose money. So either it would be they come and we pay them, or they come and they're being paid by the attendees. Either way.
It'd have to be somebody with a food handler's license, a professional, I think, to pass muster on public stuff. But
Okay. So I think so to me, it sounds like we want to table the idea of frolic event for multiple reasons, and maybe talk about a smaller event in September and what that looks like. So we can kind of put this to Chris and Chelsea and see what their thoughts are, and Christopher, and what's doable and what's not doable, and come back in June and maybe finalize what the event looks like so that we can make the plans, whether we need to bring in panelists, figure out who the musician is, how food is gonna happen, all of that stuff.
How about some of the local businesses that make food here?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I think because we had a list of a few folks
Decided.
from last meeting. So if the general outline of the event looks good to staff, then we can next meeting actually like figure out who we want to reach out to. It's going to be a little late for that.
the good news, though, if we do the farmer's market, that's on a Sunday, and I assume we'd have them come in the afternoon at 1 or 2. That is not as conflicting like a Friday night or Saturday night when they're probably already booked. But they might be more open on a Sunday or a Monday night. Again, not a high scheduling date, so we might have a little more chance of scheduling that.
Well, and also National Hispanic and Latinx Month is September 15th through October 15th. So there's a little bit, we could get one more meeting in if need be.
That's true.
Also, with an idea that maybe the ban for the farmers market and maybe some food, and then the panel and the proclamation for some other moment or space. Like
And
maybe
the
it can
speaker,
be
yeah.
Can be divided. Well, I like the idea of a panel more than one speaker. So
Yeah. I
Takes the
think
pressure off one
Ask
person.
questions as well to be able to say like, well, what do these terms mean to you, and what are your experiences with them? And because like we're not a monolith, like there's a lot of different experiences and such.
Okay. Well, then we talk next month more about specific details.
And next month, you want to determine a point person?
Yes, unless somebody really wants to do it now. If someone wants to be the lead on this. I will not have the capacity until Pride is over to think about another event. Because between 3 work events for graduation and Pride, my event capacity is
I think
full
we
until
should all reach out to people. I might ask Elsa at La Roquita, see if she would be willing to, what she thinks about the idea, willing to bring food for sale or something like that. I could call Janelle and just see if they're willing to have us kind of come. I'm a little worried about the food at the farmer's market because they already sell food. That will probably take away from their clientele. So I don't know.
I think food was gonna be there.
Yeah.
Having that extra element of food seems like an extra, maybe for next year kind of thing.
Well, I guess maybe I missed this, but I guess I'd like a little summary again of what the tentative ideas are, because so were we not thinking of having a longer session that Amanda had been talking about having, like music and proclamation and panel and food here? Because I was thinking that it was also music at the farmer's market, and that like there were potentially 2 opportunities for those kinds of things. And in which case food would be here and we wouldn't have to worry anyway.
well, I would,
I don't-
the way I'm thinking about it is it would be one or the other. Like, I guess we could do 2. I just, knowing myself and past events, if we try to get folks to show up for 2 separate events. Right.
Well, the farmer's market, people go there anyway.
Right. But I don't want, like,
Wait, how far do they go?
They go till October.
They do, okay.
Yeah, I checked.
yeah. So
End
I'm,
Yeah.
I guess, I mean, it's open to, I was thinking about doing, in my mind, if we did something here, like, we would feed people because it would be evening, and you're building community around food, either before the panel or after, or however that structure works, and maybe there's music. But I guess the music could be at the,
Well,
yeah.
we
I
also
don't-
have to maybe pay the band, and do we have budget for that? We will need to ask.
Yeah,
Chris
so that
about sort of stuff.
I was kind of, my plan is to take sort of the conversation that we've had, and obviously Crystal and Chris will watch this meeting and hear the discussion, but sort of like, here's what we're sort of thinking as a few different options, either one event or 2, or what, like, and sort of finding out from them what makes the most sense, what do we have the money for? Is this even something that, because if we don't have a budget to pay to feed people, then it makes more sense to do more of a maybe slightly informal outdoor thing where we can have a vendor, because I don't know if they can vend out of City Hall. Like, and that would be a staff question.
No.
So I think based on, like, here's all the spaghetti we're throwing at the wall, what do y'all think makes the most sense? And then once we hear back, I'll put that on the agenda for next month. And yeah, and so this is what we've heard back. Chris can probably report on that a little bit, and then we can decide what that event actually looks like.
So then should we reach out before then? Sorry.
Just
I mean-
to ask, and to tell them we're not ready to schedule or plan them, but would you be willing, or would you be interested in coming to something like this, and, or can you do that? And I think maybe instead of 2 things for our first year, we maybe just do one of these, so we decide which one, depending on our budget, and,
I could organize a panel discussion of event. If you have any ideas of who also could participate, then
I don't think it hurts to reach out to folks just to see, because if, staff comes back and are like, heck yeah, full speed ahead, go nuts, then at least we'll have started those conversations. And if they're like, pump the brakes, this isn't gonna work, then at least, we can just say, hey, we're doing something different, or we'll keep you in mind for,
We can find out our options by asking,
Yeah.
and we may have to revamp everything. But
Yeah. But if you wanna reach out to Janelle and La Raquita folks and just, let them know we're info gathering and it's not sort of official offer or anything like that.
I can reach out to El Cruzeiro.
All right, I will make notes of that and then we will talk a little more about this next month and figure out what the plan is. All right. Okay, so for new business, we have our United States Independence Day coming up in July. It looks like on our calendar for this year, we have a social media post. I don't remember if anyone signed up. Did Christopher?
Last year.
Okay.
That, I don't know if I want to use it again.
Also, I'll save that for. I don't remember if. I don't think anyone signed up for Independence Day. I know that there was some conversation about who signed up for what a couple meetings ago about.
You do social media stuff?
Yeah, but I don't think anybody has officially signed up for this. If anyone wants to.
I will write a social media post about 4th of July.
Okay.
And I don't know that we have to do a whole lot because people just, anyway. So it's,
Question. Why are there 2 likes for August?
That's a great question. I have no idea.
Okay.
I was looking at that earlier and I'm wondering if maybe it was a carryover from, because typically we don't really have anything in August, so I don't know if.
and we had proposed senior citizens awareness or something, but I'm not sure that we're ready to do all the proclamation and post and the banner yet, but.
Well, it looks like, it's just, it has social media for this year.
For August?
For August is what we said, because there was a national senior recognition in
Is
August.
there no time for a proclamation?
There's enough time for social media, I think.
I think, isn't there one? I think.
For senior?
Have one, yeah.
I don't think so, because this was just something we came up with after she had read all the AARP stuff, I think.
I thought we put one
one
out on 2024. I tried to find it, but I couldn't find it.
Yeah, let me.
Because I have a pile of all the proclamations and things that we have done,
I feel like we have.
but I couldn't find that one.
Yeah.
And we have, I pulled a list off of our OneDrive of everything that we have.
Do you want to go through that really? Can you?
Well, I don't know if it's accurate because it says we don't have a Women's History Month proclamation, but we definitely do.
Well, we should.
Oh, no, it says needs to be written, no. So there's 3 that we have, which is, I guess we're combining the next 2 because they're pretty similar. It says we have Poverty in America awareness, Black and African American Heritage Month and Women's History Month proclamations done and approved this year, but we don't have any other, maybe this is just for this year. Because we definitely have done other proclamations.
Yeah.
I can find, this may just be for this year.
August 21st is National Senior Citizens Day.
August what?
21st.
Okay, that's, I think, what we had brought just like 2 months ago. It wasn't something we've talked about prior to recent in my.
Oh. Take a look. There might be National Senior Citizen Award.
I didn't find a Poverty America Awareness Proclamation either, but
Okay, so there has been one. We haven't done one that I'm aware of, but the last one we could potentially take a look at is from 2010 for Older Americans Month to see what was passed by the council back then. I don't know if it's worth taking a look at,
Yes,
but
it is. It is. Yeah.
does it have something? But yeah, no, it seems you're right. I must be thinking of it name. So I'm sorry, I spaced out when I was trying to like figure out what we had and hadn't done. So Diane said that she'd do a social media post for
Yes.
July,
Yes, and then we were,
discussing August.
okay, so Diane's gonna do,
we do have an age-friendly
Proclamation.
oh, you started working on it, but I don't know if we ever put it,
It was put out August 12th of 2024.
Thank you, okay. That would explain why it's not in my thing.
I had no idea somehow.
There you go.
I voted on it.
I have all the proclamations.
Awesome, thank you, Jane.
And there are very few that we don't have.
okay, I just wanna say, just for keeping track of where we're at, we've sort of unofficially moved into the second item on E, which is the recognition and awareness calendar update. And since that sort of, Diane's doing Independence Day, social media posts, and now we're looking at the calendars.
Well, also, we're supposed to be, assuming that we are still operating by the 3-month rule, we should be assigning August.
Yeah, which is why we were, but we kind of
I see what you're
jumped
saying
ahead, so I just.
about whether or
for,
not we
like,
have it.
So for officially,
Yeah.
just wanted the minutes to reflect that we are now
I
on a new,
see.
we sort of naturally moved in there.
Sorry, my brain.
No, that's totally fine. Yeah, so I'm not sure why it says there are 2 social media posts for August based on Crystal's.
Yeah, and recruitment
Hmm.
of farmers market booth is not what it's about, I don't think.
But I think we were going to use August as a month because there isn't a whole bunch of recognition official months that we were just going to go and try to host at the farmers market and talk about inclusivity committee with people.
Yeah, it was
Use August for that.
as
We did that
well
last year.
as asking for, I think we had in a previous meeting said also reaching out for age-friendly community type ideas, but using it as a both kind of. For both.
Yeah. Okay, so do we not want to do a social media post for August
Well, it sounds like we have a proclamation.
for age-friendly communities? Okay.
Good start.
I think.
I'm happy to write one if you want for the age friendly for August, but
Oh, for social.
yeah. Yes.
And realistically, like us going to the farmer's market and hosting there is an event. For,
Yeah, so
so there's an event and there's a proclamation for August,
okay.
not
so-
social media.
Okay.
that said, a social media post saying, hey, we're going to be at the farmer's market, come talk to us, that would be great. But I don't know if that's necessarily, I mean, if someone wants to, but I think also staff could just easily say, hey, inclusivity committee is going
I
to.
think it'd be easy win for the group Diane's and Jane are creating. And and it's a couple months, so you guys would kind of have your feet a little bit more solid about what the objectives are.
Have you done the farmer's market before to see, because we kind of had to pull people in to talk to us.
Yeah.
And then the canopy says, what's up, Philomath? And it says, ask questions, get answers. And we had a second grader insistent on that. What was the first forest ever made? And what was the first bug that was created or whatever, you know? And we're going, but that's what it says right there on the sign is ask questions, get answers. And we're just struggling with.
No.
And there were other people that thought we were the information booth.
Oh, the market information booth, you mean?
Yeah, they were coming asking
believe that.
where certain things were or whatever. And so,
I think when I was there, I don't remember who walked with me, but someone came around. We kept on buying things from the market and kind of put stuff on the table. That was an attractant.
Yeah, I think I was with you.
Yeah. And then if we have an activity, I think that would draw in families. And then I think when we did it, some of us were behind the table, but some of us were out here, like talking to people, either right up next to the table talking to folks, or just kind of out in that walkway space in between the booths. So I think from last year, I think we learned it's how you engage, and if you're attractive and shiny enough to bring people into you.
And I think the canopy then acts that way, because I do remember seeing that last year. And that's why
That's when you met us. Yeah.
we met. Yeah.
Yep.
Because of, like, it makes you curious, like, what kind of questions can you
And my
answer?
favorite answer to impossible questions, I don't know, but we can find out.
the mom was great. She was just kind of smiling and laughing at us. And we were trying to give real answers. Well, carbon dating, you can go. And she said, these are doing better than I would. I'm all over the place. There's a POP, I don't know what that stands for, booth at the thing.
Produce.
Yeah, but it's kind of for kids.
For
They
kids.
come in and they like play a little game and then they get a token for $2 for fruits or vegetables. They need volunteers for that. And so I don't know if maybe we could try to do a 2-for-1 in the one spot. I don't know. I'll ask Janelle too.
And sorry, can you clarify what you mean?
They have a new booth this time and it's drawing kids in and they like play it. I saw a wheel that they could spin the wheel and maybe win something, and there was tokens for $2. They could take it to any of the vendors and get $2 worth of fruits or vegetables. And it's basically trying to teach kids about eating healthy. They told me they really need some more volunteers to man that booth. So I wasn't certainly thinking I would bring it here, but then if you wanted to do that and not be under the question banner, maybe you could do both and then also give some inclusivity information along with the POP. And they may want that to be just POP. I don't know, and I don't know what POP stands for.
That'd be fun.
Produce, I don't know.
Love doing that.
The P is produce. I don't remember what, but it's like produce for kids.
Yeah.
Kind of efforts. Also, the Double Up Bucks program is another one that we can help support. So people that are receiving SNAP benefits.
They had a SNAP benefit booth this time, and that's what it said. So that was good, but I just don't know. We want to be under the city one or something completely different too.
Well, I think if the issue is like potentially misleading people, like, and not wanting them to think that we're just like an information booth or something like that, then it might be, I don't know, finding something to cover it. Like,
There used to be a sandwich board that
Yeah.
said, come, like, talk to your city councilors or something like that. Because I remember when we did the booth, it was just, people would march up to the table and be like, when are the roads gonna be finished? Because they knew a city councilor was sitting there, and they didn't know which one of us was the city councilor, but they knew that there was
Wanted
city
answers.
councilors. Yeah, so I do know that there used to be like an ask a counselor.
Yeah,
Yeah,
there is a sandwich board, but it doesn't say anything about that because they've used it for several things to do with the counselor, and then they used it for the new web design.
oh, yeah,
opening.
yeah.
So it's often, it wasn't ready for us on Sunday, but
Well, maybe by August.
certainly should be.
Pop Club, Power of Produce.
Okay, cool.
So I have a completely unrelated question for you, Diane. Can you walk us through what the process, well, maybe not process, but like timeline between the design of a banner being finalized, like how long it takes to go from, yes, this is the final file, we all like it, to being printed? Do you know how long that
Less
is?
than 2 weeks.
Less than 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sometimes it depends on how busy creative graphics, that's the person that does it. Just depends on their workload.
Okay.
Yeah, and sometimes it's been in
I remember
3 days, and sometimes it's been 2 weeks.
I remember you saying something like that, so I wanted to confirm. Because I have a list somewhere of what we only have 3 banners potentially, and I don't know if this is true. There are only 3 banners that have yet to be created, and that is Holocaust Remembrance, Independence Day, and Universal Human Rights Month, if that's.
And all of them are kind of a little harder to design, because none of them are very happy things.
and we're supposed to redo the National Hispanic and Latino
Yes.
Heritage.
And so we want that done before September.
Yeah, so the reason I asked about the length of time for printing is that I think if we look, and we don't have one for Poverty in America
Yeah, that was one.
Awareness Month.
Yeah.
So
We can certainly do one for Independence Day, but that's probably the lowest on the priority list, because I think everybody knows, and those who want to celebrate are celebrating, and those who don't care are working probably.
I'm also wondering, because in planning this calendar, we had to kind of decide which Heritage Month, because there's all sorts of months, days of honor and all this kind of stuff. We've had discussions in the past about changing things up and not just doing the same set of 12 things that we're doing. I'm wondering, cart and horse kind of conversation, should we determine what our calendar looks like before we're thinking ahead for banners? Because if the heritage changes, the banner may change.
I mean, I'm totally down for that. Like, we have all of 2026 blank.
Right.
So we could, absolutely go through and look at new ones.
Maybe that's for the next meeting, is that we can look at the different days and then determine, or months, and then determine what we're gonna do. I think there's some staples that we should keep, like Black History Month, Pride Month, like those kind of things, Veterans Day. But I think it would be more equitable to look at the other ones, now that we've been focusing on these two for what, 2 years now? 3? 2.
I don't feel like we've completed
Yeah.
a year yet. And I mean, with all 3 of the things, I almost feel like That's my own personal,
Mm.
but we should complete that first and then talk about changing.
And completing would mean that there would be a
Proclamation,
banner, a
social
proclamation,
media,
and a
and-
social media. Okay, I hear you.
There are, well, I guess there's only 2 months that has everything. Indigenous Peoples' Day and National Hispanic Latino Heritage Month. And everything else, it looks like is incomplete.
Well, then we still need to redo that banner, so technically.
It's incomplete, yeah.
But if anything, I think July would be a good one to potentially
Find a different
take a
one.
look at, yeah, just because it is so ubiquitous and what more can we add?
I don't think we need to announce that we're celebrating Independence Day.
Yeah.
I mean,
So-
people may think that's unpatriotic. I mean, I just think
Eh.
most of us celebrate and it's.
I mean, it's pretty, yeah.
Yeah.
It's, of all of them, I think it's the most known.
Yeah. Agreed.
In 2023, we had a
Proclamation for
Independence Day. Yeah, we had that one.
I forgot about that. Yeah, the only thing we don't have.
Writing
them
proclamations
be
and
in-
forgetting about them.
And we don't need them because we have a flag, like, in theory. But yeah, no, I think it would be worth having a conversation about July at least. But as for the other ones, I have no preference, I guess, whether or not we want to change them.
And then on my spreadsheet for banners, we don't have any, because we don't have anything for August on our calendar. We don't have anything for August.
Except for proclamation.
Yes, but yeah, I'm just looking at the banner
Oh, gotcha, sorry.
list, but yes. And I have the proclamation. On our agenda for next meeting.
I guess that's why I'm kind of thinking of looking at the potential of changing up the heritage months that we're honoring, because I mean, August is National Wellness Month, Black Business Month, National Breastfeeding Month. I mean, I think we're thinking about that differently. That complete means we've touched on it to me, that we've done something, not that we've done all the three things.
And I think
Do it that way.
that we could touch more issues.
Other things that we're not touching, like we're missing out on communities and groups and significant days, months, weeks, because we're focusing on these, which are amazing and awesome, and I'm glad we're focusing on them, but also we've been focusing on them for 2 years. So that's just my opinion.
Breastfeeding is important.
Also National Immunization Awareness Month, but I don't know.
I got it immunized today. Tomorrow I'll be feeling that good. Poverty in America, we had talked about putting PCS logo and, tying it in with that, because it's hard. I mean, there's pictures of people starving, reaching for food. That's not necessarily, I don't
Right.
think, what we want to put on a flag. Some people had a whole bunch of other organizations they wanted to add to it, and I think that's why it's never been done, is because I never got a list of what people wanted to add to it, and I know PCS the best. But, and Universal Human Rights Month in December is it's a good thing to bring up, but there's gonna be decorations and it's cold and dark and yucky and.
Well, that's the thing, is we don't necessarily need to have a banner for every month or every, because
especially if we're gonna change it.
And December, like, that makes sense that the decorations are out. I mean, we could have a generic December banner that goes up that's like, some just sort of inclusion,
Banners.
like not necessarily like
Not banners, no, they've got decorations.
Decorations.
But-
Or similar to the.
something that the inclusive, like something about inclusion in December that's not necessarily like.
Or and I also think that the word universal speak to that. So
I think too, that's where the social medias can tie into the media posts in places where we don't have a banner that makes us
Yeah.
feel good or something, but having the post is probably might be a good way to convey that message. When we have a post, we can update it or add a little bit more or add or take away or change it as the years go through. So we did talk about, okay, we've got a post, just let it ride, but maybe as we let it ride, we can take a look at it and tweak it a bit each time we look at it.
Would it be at all acceptable to do a December, January banner and have the top just recognizing Universal Human Rights Month and the bottom recognizing Poverty in America Month with the PCS logo? And because that time of year, the people that put up the signs, they're kind of busy and it's weather's terrible.
I believe Public Works is gonna be doing it soon.
They've been doing it at sometimes CPI, I think, has done it, and I even.
But I mean, like, I think they're getting a bucket truck, like, I think it's in our budget or
Okay.
something like that, so that.
Well, it's just that-
we do it regularly.
They're the ones. You got it. Okay, I'll stop.
I was just letting you know.
And maybe a question for staff is, where they put, what did they have last year? They have candy canes? During Christmas time, there was
Got a
trees.
tree now.
They were trees.
New
Yeah.
Trees with people.
with the
Are-
P.
Yes, that's right. Do those go where the banners go, or are those are separate areas? Okay, never mind. So I was thinking, like, if we already have the trees up, then we'd have to take.
A December, January banner,
Everyone's busy in December.
because then it could be kind of divided or.
Just
And-
recognizing
Yeah.
those two things and not.
2 months of advertisement for PCS and focus on the poverty.
But just to clarify, Amanda, you were mentioning like inclusivity then, like.
I was just thinking about like if we couldn't decide on a banner for December, or if we didn't want to do the
Human rights.
yeah, if there was just some sort of like general message of inclusion for December, because but I do like the idea of combining or something and having those two. And we just know that we're always going to have that banner go up in December and it's going to stay up through February and come down. Okay, I do want to point out that it is 6:59 because
Okay, but let's not miss that idea, because I
Yes.
think that is not here because we're always focusing on every, like a different segment of the population.
Thank you. Sorry, no, I was pointing, just to like, hold on, like, I have a thing, not hold on, but just when you were finished, I was gonna. We also have to put the inclusivity proclamation on here. I think it's for August as well, and because I think that was part of the reason why it's either July or August typical, or maybe it's June. I don't remember. It was signed one, thank you.
She's
I think
got.
I have it in June, but
I think it was signed in 1 month originally, and then it got shifted to like every whatever month. Be reviewing it.
And that's what the thing is.
That was June.
June, but, and it says for every June, or maybe I'm thinking of the handbook. It might say something like that, or like, which reminds me, is there any update from lawyers?
I checked in with Christopher
Each June.
last week. He said that thinks that that there were notes, but he doesn't remember what they were, and that he would get back to me.
Okay.
And so I will poke him again before our June meeting to get it. But it sounds like there's some information
Cool.
about that.
Thank you. So then on
Okay.
that note, for our next meeting,
Yes.
we'll need to have the proclamation review.
I am going to admit, this is probably not important, that I have all these plans. When we have meetings, I take notes and I go put them down, and then I don't always address them during the month. What? I'm the only one. It drives me crazy when I do that.
Seven, okay. I was like, that seems, okay, so just a quick review of what is going on the agenda for June. We'll review the social media post for Independence Day. We will give a final Pride update before the event actually happens. It will be like days before it happens. We'll visit the calendar, and if folks want some homework, if there are any heritage months that speak to you that we do not touch on, and you want to sort of advocate for them going on to the 2026 calendar, bring those. We will review the inclusivity proclamation. So we have one, it just needs to be reviewed,
It's the initial proclamation.
and then it's read in August.
Well,
Or read,
so technically it's supposed to be like reapproved by the council in June. So
Okay.
you might want to check in with Christopher about
Okay.
that, but yeah,
I will text him or email him and Chris.
it might be more of a, hey, does anyone have any like huge edits that we want to make? Because if not, then it's going to be reviewed by the council that are doing, you know what I mean? But
Yeah.
I don't know. What do you think is best?
This, I like this because it gives
Okay.
the detail about what each one of
Is
these
there
means.
anything that anyone wants to add
I don't like this one because
to
I
the
can't-
agenda at this moment? You can always email me or text me if something comes up.
Copies of this made for the 10th.
Sounds like a no. Okay, well then, good meeting. Appreciate y'all. Thanks for watching. See you next month.
Thank you.